going to press record. Hi, everybody. This is Rocio Flores joining you again from Bella Entrepreneurs, and I'm so excited to welcome Jeannette Flores, who may be a distant relative of mine. We share the
You
same
never
last
know.
name. Welcome her to our family, to our home here at Bella. For those of you that don't know, Bella stands for Brillantes Emprendedoras Latinas de Los Angeles, and it's an organization I founded which the purpose is to really elevate the Latina entrepreneurial voice. And I like to focus on the communities of East LA, the East Side, South LA, and South Central, just to make sure that we are elevating the voice of the Latina business owner and supporting and providing that community for each other. So, Jeannette, I'm so excited to have you here. I met Jeannette a few months ago, and it's been really great to know her, to visit her at Super Pollos, and to taste her delicious food there. And so I'm just happy to be able to have this conversation with you, to get to know you a little bit more, and so that you can share some of your tips, some of your challenges, some of your successes with everybody that's listening to this interview. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Like I told you, I think it's incredible what you're doing, just to show other Latinas, especially the younger ones, that, anything's possible and you don't have to go by the usual standards.
Yes, yes, so true. So we're just going to start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, who's Jeannette Flores, and a little bit about Super Pollos, and then we'll dive into a little bit more of the questions.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Monterey Park. I'm still here in my childhood home. Um, I went to school here in the area. I went to Catholic school my whole life. Um, I attended ELAC. I went to Cal State LA. I actually wanted to be a police officer. When I was a child, my dad told me no. I'm a daughter of immigrant parents, and my dad's like, you're not going to be in danger. You can't do that. So I kind of changed my course. Went into business. um, I figured, that was my destiny, because my dad has been in the just every kind of business you could think of. He started like import export, and ended up with, he had a place in the Mercadito. He was the owner of the fish market and the meat market. And he's had restaurants in Boyle Heights since '79. Unfortunately, when everything happened in 2009, 2010, we had to close.
Yeah.
And, he asked me, he's like, well, what should we do about the chicken place? And I said, nope. I was working with him in the office. I was doing, the accounts payable and such. And I said, no, get rid of it. I was just tired. I was tired mentally, physically. I was just drained with everything that was happening. I said, no, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. I'll figure out what I'll do with my life. And he said, no. He's like, I'm not going to get rid of it. We were highly in debt. Like, people don't know, and it was bad. It was bad for those few years. I was, crying because I saw the bills, and I saw this, and the drop in everything, and you saw the business's struggle. So you felt it.
Yeah.
And he said, we went through it in the 80s. We're going to go through it again. And I said, oh, just get rid of it. That was my motto. Just, my whole idea, just get rid of it. We'll do fine. He said, no. So, fortunately for me, he kept it, and he kept telling me, I want to retire. Put it in your name. No, Dad, I don't want to. I don't want that. I don't know if it was a responsibility or what it was. So, he did. He said, you know what? Okay, it's time. All right, Dad, it's time. And yeah, so I've been working with him for like over 20 years. And as of maybe 6 years ago, it's been mine, just there. And especially now, I'm there all the time, which is good because I love the community. The Boyle Heights community is amazing. So I've seen people, come in, and before they even get married, and now they have kids, and their kids are grown, or these kids, they would come in, and I still remember them. And I love it. I have such a sense of community there. You get to know, especially all the other businesses, everybody supports each other. Hey, for lunch, let's not have chicken today. Let's, go down the street. Let's go have this. Or, when I need bread for my capirota, I go down the street for that. Or, you have your little places.
Yeah.
Because you want to keep it, local, and help other businesses out just the way they've helped you out.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And we'll talk a little bit more about your like your purpose and your mission behind the business, right? Because we know it's more than just a brick and mortar space where you're selling
Yes.
chicken. There's so much more to it. And so we'll dig a little deeper, but let's talk about you touched on it briefly, but like your childhood, like growing up, what was
I'm
it
sorry, I
like?
have to skip forward.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. This is good. This is good. It's meant to, whatever comes to mind, whatever comes to heart is what we want you to share. So, just growing up, like, how was it for you? Did you grow up in a household that you shared a little bit? Like, was it that spirit of business ownership and entrepreneurship? Was it more like go to school and, like what kind of environment? What was it like for you growing up with your family and your community?
It was, well, my parents divorced when I was maybe about 5,
Mhm.
maybe. So it was always study. You're gonna study, you're gonna study. And my mom actually, when she came to this country, both of my parents from Mexico, they didn't speak English.
Right.
And my mom actually did her high school diploma here, and she went on, and she's actually a nurse now. And as so she's always been, nose to the grindstone. You gotta study, you gotta study. And my dad, he's like, you gotta be somebody in life. You gotta, do something. So even though my dad wasn't present in the home, I mean, he was always present. But
Mhm.
both of them were just like, how are your grades? How are you doing? And unfortunately for them, I mean, I did great at ELAC. I did okay at Cal State, and I kind of just let it dwindle off a bit. I mean, I need to go back because I had my daughters young. I have 2 daughters; they're in their 20s, so I had them young. And actually, one is she'll be getting her, God willing, her master's in about a year.
Oh, great.
And yeah, my other one is studying civil engineering. So I think what I didn't finish, they're doing. So it's always been an emphasis. You need to study. You need to study. You need to, because I think that's why our parents came to this country.
Mhm.
I tell my girls, do you want to work with your back or your mind?
Mhm.
They see me sometimes struggling. I have them helping me a couple days a week, and it gets hot in there. I'm like, is this what you want to do, or do you want to,
Yeah.
you know, just sit at a desk? And of course, every job, I think, even if you're at a desk, it has its worries.
Right.
So, but yeah, my childhood, it was good. It was good. People think there's just such a negative stigma on divorce, and of course, you should be together, but there's more to it. I think as long as you're involved and everything. But my childhood was good. It was good. I have an amazing older brother, and it was the two of us always. My neighbors, were amazing. They're still great friends. So it was a sense of community here in on my street
Yeah.
as well. And in school, most of my friends are from grammar school still. Yeah.
Wow.
So I think it was a good childhood.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I think there's different family dynamics, right? Family structures look different, and I think what's important is that you live in a household where you feel loved and you feel
Yes.
accepted, and it doesn't matter
Encouraged.
kind of the makeup. Yeah, you're encouraged to pursue whatever it is you want to pursue in your goals. So that's beautiful. I'm glad that you had that support growing up. You talked a little bit about kind of the transition of, the back and forth between when you took over the restaurant and what it was like. And so I know you didn't necessarily start the business. It was already something that you had kind of worked with, but tell us a little bit about that like transition. Like how did that feel when the transition actually happened 6 years ago and you were like, okay, this is now my business and how I'm gonna run it. Like what did that feel like? What did that look like for you?
Well, I had been working there. Anytime they needed a cashier, I would step up. You know what? I'll do it just to get me out of the office. Like I said, it was so stressful with everything that was happening. Just, I'll go. I would volunteer and go just to do something that just didn't have my mind going so much. Something a little easier. So I had been there. So you get to know everybody. Um, I think it was a little difficult because it was almost self-run for them to say, oh, she's going to call the shots. I didn't want to go in stepping on any toes.
Mm.
And especially, I think as a woman, they don't think of you the same way. So I remember in the beginning, like, Dad, you need to help me, like, tell them, so tell them. I would go to my dad. Why? Because he was the authority. Even though he wasn't there present, he was, who it was. And I think, over the years, it's changed. because, I've had to take my position. I've always been scared, I think, of failure.
Mm.
So I would step back and let other people make decisions, almost because, well, if it doesn't work out, it's not on me. So now I've learned, you know what? Hazlo. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? You trip, you dust yourself off, and you get up.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
think it was a little difficult. A while back, one of my main guys left, pretty much overnight, and he was the one that knew how to run the place. He had been there forever. So, here I was. Of course, I went crying to my dad, like, what do I do? And he's just like, you'll do it. You'll be fine. And yeah, I think it was the best thing that could have happened to me. At first, I didn't see it. I thought it was the end of it. I kept thinking, what about like our customers that depend on us? Because there are people that come in, I have older people that come in a few times a week and they like to talk. And, I just, thought about them and what's going to happen. And I thought, what about all the sacrifices when we had to close the restaurants back in 2010, 2012? I remember thinking, this is what my dad sacrificed everything for, and we're losing it. I took it like if it was me. I know there were a lot of factors, but I felt like it was my fault. So I said, my dad sacrificed everything, not that he sacrificed us, but he sacrificed his time with us to make sure que nunca nos hiciera falta anything, right? My mom kept us humble. So my dad made sure we always had everything we needed, but my mom just made it the bare minimum. This is what you need. You don't need more than this. You don't need extravagant. So luckily, I have the best of both worlds. She's taught me, how to be humble, how to not need extras. Every once in a while we do splurge, but for the most part, and now I forgot your question.
No, just asked you like, how did it feel to transition
Oh
over
yeah. Okay.
to?
So, he left and pretty much taking everything with him, everything. He wanted to take everybody with him. And I told everybody, if that's it's your choice. I would love to have you. So it's been a learning experience, but it's given me the reins
Mm.
fully. I do ask, because I value everybody's opinion. I love my coworkers. I don't see them as employees. I'm not the boss. I'm there in the trenches with them. I get burn marks and cut marks all over, but it's part of the process. And I just think that sometimes we just have to take that leap. You just have to go for it. Like, I always say, what's the worst that could happen? My daughters get mad at me. They're like, Mom, what about this? What about? And I'm like, just slow down. It's not a problem until it's a problem. Or, we'll figure it out. That's my favorite. I'll figure it out. Well, what about? I'll figure it out. And I'm like, why are you guys so stressed all the time? And they're all, because you're the way you are. I guess they think they have to balance me out, but I'm so optimistic, and I always know like everything's going to be okay. I always say, I have my health, I have my family, I have my kids, my parents, my brothers. I'm very blessed in that sense. Everything else just works out.
Yeah. Yeah, and you talked about community quite a bit in the beginning, and I think it leads into the next question around like your purpose and your mission, and it speaks to what you're saying right now too, right? It's like you surround yourself with people that care, you care about community, and that kind of is what also carries you through sometimes the challenges, I think. So, can you speak a little bit more about like that, like the purpose and the mission behind your business, behind why you do what you do, and how you value community and how it plays a role in your business?
I think, we're trying to provide, good home style, home cooked. Everything we do is fresh from scratch, um, affordable meals. It's fast food without, you know, I guess all the extras you don't want. Do you want to go buy a burger? Burgers are delicious, by the way, but or do you just want like something with a little more substance? You know, um, and I just think we offer that. There you want a burger sometimes, you want pizza, but there's something different when you have a plate with, something. There's a lot of nostalgia with it. I have people from like Mexico City, and they say, this reminds me so much of my hometown, just the flavors. And it's such a good feeling because, just that taste that brings you home. And I think, that's what makes us us. I have a lot of customers, oh, my parents used to bring me, and sometimes their parents aren't around anymore. And it's so good that they have those reflections. We're a small hole in the wall. We're not this have like all the bells and whistles. We focus on our food and just to make sure everybody, leaves happy. And 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 I think it's just, I think that sense of nostalgia, that sense of community. When they come in, a lot of times they come in, I already know their order. They don't even have to tell me. I'm like the usual. I see them in line, and by the time they go pay, it's already prepped. So I love that. I love. There's so many creatures of habit out there. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think I mean, I feel it. Like when I walked in, you feel kind of already welcome. You feel like you're with family. You feel safe. You feel like you pay attention to folks that walk in the door, right? And I think that
Yes.
makes a difference. It makes your work just you approach it differently, right? Than when you kind of
Yeah.
just see it as your day-to-day job. And this is one of the things I see time and time again in Latina business owners and entrepreneurs is that you have a gift of being able to bring community together and
Mhm.
kind of sharing your optimism and your energy with folks. And it's like you feel it, it's palpable, it's very obvious. And so I definitely I'm right there understanding exactly what you mean when you say that. And so, I know you talked about this a little bit too, but some of the struggles that you faced kind of taking on the business, but even more so, like what were those things that you encountered more recently, like maybe within the last year or so? What are some of those struggles and like how would you, or what tips or what kind of advice would you give to other Latinas that are maybe encountering similar struggles in their business? How did you push through those challenges?
I think people right away they assume, that you're just maybe the wife or the sister. You just work there, which is fine by me. I rarely tell people it's me. It's I'm the owner. They'll say, "Oh, tell the owner." Okay, once in a while when they're arguing, and they tell me, what, I need to speak with the owner. And, oh, what can I do for you? And the faces they make sometimes, like, what, you like? It's almost like they're taken aback. It's almost like they're insulting you. Like, how is this possible? And I think most of the time when that happens, it's women who do it.
Mm,
And it's so sad because I guess we don't see each other in that role, that position, and we should.
mhm,
On the contrary, like they say, yes, the man is the head of the household.
mhm.
Yes, but the woman is the neck that turns that head. So I think without women, you wouldn't make it work. But that's one of the struggles. Don't let them tell you no, and make sure whatever write it down, get it in writing, because it's happened more than once when you're told something and you take people's word, and unfortunately they don't value word as much as you do.
Mm.
So they will tell you, yes, we'll do this, and yeah, don't worry, I'll install this and it'll be great. And unfortunately they think you're a woman, and or they know you're a woman, and they think they know they could take advantage of you. But don't let them. Write it down, get it in writing, whatever it is, even the most minute thing, make sure you get it in writing. um, and yeah, just don't let anybody belittle you. If you think it's a good thing, do it. If it makes you feel good, do it. Doesn't hurt anybody else. um, you want to go for something, you want to do something, and people will always have an opinion. We Latinos do. We unfortunately we don't build each other up as much as we should.
Mhm.
You'll say, I want to do this. No, no, para qué? And it's like, yes, instead of like, what, great, what do you need from me? So I think that's what we need to do is also find, like, you're amazing, Rocio. What you do, like I told you earlier, I don't know how you find the time, the energy, when everything was happening with with the pandemic, I happened to go on our Instagram and I saw Daisy from Milpa Grill. She had posted something and she's like, we're closing. And that was the day we decided to close for a week because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going to happen. And I had never cried so much, I just, it's my baby. So I went to go talk to her, and I guess everything happens for a reason because I met her and she's opened so many more doors for me. Her, I don't know how she does it either. She's all over the place and constant, and she's such a community advocate, which is amazing. But I think with this whole pandemic, it's brought people closer. It's pulled us apart physically, but it's brought us closer, and we're all supporting each other a little bit more. I think there's more compassion, there's more understanding, and I hope it continues.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's, you said it so perfectly. Like physically, we're apart, but it's brought us together, and I think it's really pushed folks to be, somewhat vulnerable where we weren't used to opening up to each other and saying, "I need help." Right? It's
Yeah.
like you said before, it's like, I can do this, I need to do this. And sometimes that's in our culture too. It's like, tú puedes hacerlo. Yeah, maybe you can do it, but it doesn't mean you don't have those fears, those insecurities. You need
Yes.
that familia, that comunidad to really like push you to feel like you're part of something bigger, to encourage you. We need that. We're humans, we have feelings. And so I think that all of that come together. I see that time and time again, like you're saying, in our communities where folks have pulled together, they're supporting each other, they're sharing space now, they're encouraging each other. And so it's definitely something beautiful to see. But really great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else that, as we're kind of closing our time together, anything else that you want to share with the audience that may be listening, knowing that there are some Latina entrepreneurs that are listening, but also just the general public that may be listening into the interview? Any words of wisdom or final inspiration that you want to share with us?
I think just follow your heart. I think sometimes we question when something bad happens, but there's always something better coming from there. You can't appreciate the good without the bad.
Mhm.
So just know, it's, if you guys need any help, I'm at work. Yeah, if you need anything, I'm not like the best person for advice, but whatever I can help you with, I'll help you with. And I think that's just what we need, just more community, more building up, more, successes in our community, because there are so many intelligent people out there and with drive, but sometimes they just need a path. They need to know where to start.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Just find help. There's help out there. There's amazing people like you, Rocio, out there that, I didn't know about before. There's a lot of Latino business organizations that you could join, and just thank you, first of all, and lastly, for everything you do.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeanette. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story,
Thank
sharing
you for having me.
your journey with us. And I want everyone out there to encourage you to support Jeanette, support her business. We're going to put your information, your Instagram account, your business information on the website, so that folks can tune in and can find you and know how to support you. So thank you so much, Jeanette. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the interview. Just remember that we're here. Continue to follow us and continue to just work together, uplift each other. So thank you, everybody. Adios a
Thank you guys.
todos.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye bye.